Have you ever wondered what it feels like when an entire country suddenly loses its magic? When the dream destination you saw on postcards and Instagram feeds becomes the very place travelers avoid at all costs? In 2025, the global travel map has changed in ways no one expected. And today, I'm taking you on a countdown through the 10 countries where tourism didn't just decline, it practically died. The reasons are shocking, sometimes heartbreaking, and in every case, they reveal just how fragile the world of travel really is. Stay with me until the end, because number 1 will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about global tourism. 10. Tunisia. We begin in North Africa, where the golden beaches of Tunisia once welcomed millions of Europeans seeking affordable sunshine. For years, Tunisia was the Mediterranean's best-kept secret: turquoise waters, bustling souks, and ruins older than Rome itself. But in 2025, the story has turned dark. A surge in political instability, combined with waves of protests that spill into major cities, has left travelers uneasy. Add to that a struggling economy and repeated warnings from European embassies, and suddenly package holiday companies pulled out. The streets that once rang with laughter and bargaining are quieter now. Tourism here didn't collapse overnight, but like a flame without oxygen, it's slowly suffocated. And what hurts most is how ordinary Tunisians, whose livelihoods depended on visitors, are the ones paying the price. 9. Sri Lanka. Just a few years ago, Sri Lanka was hailed as the rising star of South Asia. Stunning coastlines, lush tea plantations, and train rides through emerald hills made it one of the most Instagrammable countries on earth. But if you look closer in 2025, the picture is very different. Economic turmoil has drained the country, with inflation soaring and basic goods sometimes out of reach for locals. Add the lingering impact of political crises and fuel shortages that make travel across the island difficult, and suddenly tourism feels impossible. Foreigners aren't just deterred by cost or inconvenience, they're witnessing scenes of hardship that clash with the idyllic vacation image. It's a tragic irony: just when the world discovered Sri Lanka, its tourism heartbeat faltered. 8. Argentina. Now we head to South America. Argentina is a land of tango, steaks, and glaciers so beautiful they look unreal. But in 2025, its tourism scene tells another story. Crushing inflation has turned daily life into a battle for locals. And for visitors, unpredictability is the biggest enemy. Currency swings make prices confusing, protests disrupt city life, and infrastructure struggles to keep up. Tourists who once dreamed of sipping Malbec in Mendoza or watching the sun set over Buenos Aires' colorful streets are canceling trips. Fear of getting caught in chaos outweighs the romance of adventure. Argentina's beauty hasn't vanished, but the trust that makes tourism flow has. And without trust, even the most stunning landscapes feel unreachable. 7. Turkey. Turkey, a nation that straddles east and west, has always been a magnet for travelers. From the mosques of Istanbul to the fairy chimneys of Cappadocia, it offered both history and magic. But in 2025, Turkey's tourism is on life support. Inflation here is crushing, political tensions simmer, and the strain of hosting millions of refugees has altered the country's social fabric. Add growing concerns about security in certain regions, and international travelers began to pull away. The airports aren't empty, but the numbers are a shadow of what they once were. Tourism, once a bridge connecting Turkey to the world, now feels more like a lifeline slipping from its grasp. 6. Egypt. Few countries in the world hold the same allure as Egypt. The pyramids, the Nile, the timeless mystery of pharaohs. For centuries, it was the ultimate bucket list destination. Yet in 2025, Egypt's tourism has taken a sharp blow. Years of economic hardship, strict government policies, and rising costs for foreigners have pushed visitors away. The Egyptian pound's collapse made life harsh for locals, but strangely, didn't make travel cheaper for outsiders. Instead, it added to confusion. The dream of sailing the Nile has given way to news headlines about instability, long queues for essentials, and rising security risks. Tourists no longer see Egypt as timeless, but as risky, and for a country that once lived off the curiosity of the world, this is nothing short of devastating. 5. Greece. This one hurts, because Greece was once the very definition of summer escape. Whitewashed villages spilling down cliffsides into turquoise seas, islands glowing with sunsets, and a history that gave birth to civilization itself. But in 2025, Greece is facing a different kind of storm. Over-tourism, once its biggest complaint, has now flipped into under-tourism. The global economic slowdown hit hard, making international visitors think twice about expensive European trips. At the same time, the Greek government tightened its visa and taxation rules, leaving many small operators to collapse. Entire villages on the islands now rely on empty rooms waiting for guests that never arrive. Greece is still breathtaking, but without the crowds. Its silence feels heavy, a reminder that beauty alone cannot sustain a tourism economy. 4. Thailand. Thailand has long been the heartbeat of Southeast Asia's backpacking circuit. Temples, night markets, and beaches that felt like paradise kept people coming back again and again. But now, the picture is changing. In 2025, Thailand has introduced stricter visa rules and higher tourism taxes in a bid to control mass tourism. Instead of fixing the problem, it drove away millions of budget travelers who once filled hostels, night trains, and local food stalls. Add environmental concerns, where islands like Maya Bay were closed again due to damage, and suddenly the party seems over. For the first time in decades, the backpacker trail feels broken. Thailand is still beautiful, but the energy that made it legendary has dimmed, leaving locals to wonder if the golden age of tourism will ever return. 3. Morocco. From the Atlas Mountains to the chaos of Marrakesh souks, Morocco was always intoxicating. But by 2025, tourism here is unraveling. Political unrest, combined with frequent protests and economic decline, has cast a shadow over its vibrant streets. After the devastating earthquake in 2023, Morocco struggled to rebuild, and by 2025 many regions are still in recovery. Infrastructure that tourists once took for granted is unreliable, and stories of scams, overcrowding, and safety concerns have spread. What was once adventurous now feels overwhelming, even unsafe. The smell of spices still fills the air, but fewer foreign noses are there to breathe it in. Tourism here didn't just decline, it crumbled under the weight of tragedy and mismanagement. 2. Cuba. Cuba was always complicated, but that was part of its charm. Vintage cars, pastel-colored streets, and a culture that felt frozen in time brought curious travelers in. But now, in 2025, Cuba's tourism has almost collapsed entirely. Decades of embargoes left it fragile, but recent shortages of food, medicine, and even fuel have made daily life a struggle. For tourists, basic comforts like air conditioning, reliable transportation, or even internet access are no longer guaranteed. What once felt like a time capsule of beauty now feels like survival. Many visitors left shocked, posting stories online that scared others away. Tourism here didn't just fade, it broke under the weight of reality. 1. Ukraine. And now we arrive at number 1. The country where tourism has not just declined but died almost completely, Ukraine. Once a hidden gem of Eastern Europe, filled with medieval towns, Black Sea beaches, and vibrant culture, Ukraine was on the rise as a must-see destination. But since the outbreak of war in 2022, the story changed forever. By 2025, the conflict has scarred cities, displaced millions, and left entire regions unsafe. The world still admires Ukraine for its resilience, but tourism here is no longer even a consideration. Travelers aren't looking for adventure, they're looking at headlines of destruction. Kyiv, once buzzing with cafes and art, now stands as a city of resilience, not tourism. The dream of exploring Ukraine is gone, replaced by respect, sorrow, and uncertainty for what comes next. So what do these stories tell us? Tourism is not guaranteed, it's fragile, tied not just to beaches and monuments, but to peace, stability, and the everyday struggles of ordinary people. When those things break down, the world stops visiting and the silence is louder than any crowd. But perhaps there's a lesson here: to travel with awareness, to see beyond the Instagram picture, and to understand the humanity behind every destination. If you found this journey eye-opening, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Which of these countries surprised you the most? Leave your answer in the comments below. And if you want to keep exploring the hidden truths of global travel, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Top Insights, and ring the bell so you never miss what's coming next. Because the world is changing fast, and here, you'll always know the stories behind the headlines.